hundreds of millions of dollars on Holocaust memorials. You already have your African Holocaust memorials of enslavement in the burial grounds found in the Americas and in the forts and dungeons along the west coast of Africa and east coast of Africa, as well as in the Caribbean. So we need to take these sacred spaces and places that our people have enshrined by their blood and their suffering and make them a part of our understanding of African genocide and African pilgrimage. So the pilgrimage dates are August the 8th through the 23rd, and those of you who can come with us, please try to make that experience. Last year or 2 years ago, and Brother Clemson Brown has always captured these things on film, we had an installment of myself in the courtyard of the dungeon fort Elmina, and it was a fantastic experience. Each year we go, we pay homage to the traditional authorities as well as the regular modern political authorities, as well as those groups that we've been working with for years. So August the 8th through the 23rd is this activity. One of these days we're going to give a special invite soon to our brother. He'll have to cut himself loose from you. And I know you're going to be hurting and you don't want that to happen. But if we bring Leola with him, I think he'll come. So we need to get the Maddox in with us with this Sankofa experience. I just heard my wife say they are planning it. It takes money, y'all. There aren't many free tickets around, y'all. I think it's something that the family should do, y'all. And we'd be willing to make an enormous contribution with that, y'all. And then when they come back, they'll be fired up. Can't take no more. Fired up, and they'll be ready to move UAM to special heights. But those of you who are interested, you can contact Brother Small or myself, or even the travel agent, 212-967-4545. Now, I mention this, and usually I don't. I mention this because we may have to cancel the July trip. We thought we could do two, one in July and one in August, but it does not look like the July trip is possible, and tomorrow we'll probably decide to cancel that. So those of you who may have thought about coming with us in July, that does not look possible, but the August trip will definitely be part of our experience. Now, I want to leave you with these last few words. You know, there was a summit held in Baltimore, and we need to give our brothers and sisters the benefit of the doubt in trying to do the correct thing. I know if you listen to our warrior, attorney at war, Alton Maddox, he'll be able to tear the summit apart in his analytical way. And that means the covers will be pulled off. But some of your key folks were there trying to do the right thing. It remains to be seen as to whether they will be able. Because the important thing that we have to deal with is not a coming together at a summit or a special conference or activity or personalities, but as I said from this space and place many times and wherever I get a chance to speak, what we're dealing with is a systems question. And you need a systems analysis. And that's what Brother Alton brings to us. You're dealing, as Dr. Francis Cress Welsing said, and you should never forget it, against an enormous global system of white supremacy, which I've described as the 3 Ds: domination, destruction, and death. And so even though we may get together as summits, unless we're talking about putting in place an African system of liberation, we're really not dealing with the real thing. And so we really can't expect for so much out of these limited summit arrangements. We have to be prepared to come together, brainstorm seriously over long periods of time, laying down an agenda and program to support that agenda of African peoples. And as Brother Small says, if you can't put in place your economics, your politics, and your culture in a dynamic relationship, you're not serious. Because that's what is arrayed against us, a system of economics, politics, and culture centered around white supremacy that readjusts itself every time we make a move, readjusts itself every time it falters and falls, and is able to regenerate itself, usually on the backs of poor people, particularly people of color. So you see this system readjusting now in South Africa. Nothing has changed. An election by Nelson Mandela does not make a difference. If Winnie Mandela had been elected, we might have had a little bit of a difference. But the system is still in place. The system of economic domination in which white folks have worked black folk as virtual slaves, wage slavery, is still in place. They haven't declared that unconstitutional in the new Constitution of South Africa. The system of politics dominated by white supremacy, led by the Nationalist Party, which is a Nazi party, a party that joined the Third Reich, that put up a constitution in 1942 to join the Third Reich. That party is still there. It hasn't been banned by the Constitution. And other political endeavors that are incorrect, such as Nkata, are still there in this Constitution. And certainly culturally, the system of white supremacy that was declared by the Dutch Reformed Church and supported by a secret society called the Broederbond is still in place. And until they come out from under their hoods and robes of Ku Klux Klan Africana style and declare themselves null and void, the system of white supremacy is alive and well in South Africa. This is not a put down of Nelson Mandela, but it shows the limitations of an individual. This is not a put down of the ANC, but it shows the anxiety of a group of people who have wanted to have something for so long that they're willing to sell out and sell short when they could have grabbed for the whole thing. South Africa is ready to collapse under the economic struggle of black people led by Winnie Mandela. The women were ready to bring the system to its knees. And they've come up with a readjustment, put a black face on the same situation. So now you have black folks manning the plantation that is South Africa. Black face in high places, Bob Law said. So now we've got to watch it very carefully and hope that we can find the means of putting in place a system of real development in South Africa, in West Africa, in East Africa, in the Caribbean, in Brazil, and certainly here in America.